Today's about Abby and Libby, focusing on them.
Today was the day, but I didn't anticipate they ever thought today would be their day.
For the first time in more than 5.5 years, we finally tonight have a few new answers to a question that has loomed over Indiana and over the town of Delphi. Who killed Abby Williams and Libby German?
This is the break their families have been waiting on for nearly 6 years. However, there are still a lot of questions people want answered about the arrest of Richard Allen.
Our 13 News team has been working all day to get you some of those answers tonight. And tonight we bring you comprehensive live team coverage as 13 Investigates looks into Allen's background.
And we're also hearing from members of the community who hope this day would come.
Libby's family also talks with us, sharing how they're feeling, knowing that tonight at this hour, a suspect in the case is behind bars.
Well, let's get straight to Scott. He's got a look at how everything went down. Scott.
Well, tonight we can finally put a face with the name that we've been reporting since Friday, Richard Allen. Indiana State Police released this mugshot of Allen shortly after the news conference ended this morning around 10:30. And today we learned that Richard Allen is charged with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German. Right now he's being held without bond after pleading not guilty. But police aren't giving us any information about evidence that would connect Richard Allen to these crimes. But investigators do believe Richard Allen is the man they've been looking for all these years. They had previously released 2 sketches during the first years of the investigation as they search for this suspect all over the country. And now they tell us a suspect was in Delphi all along.
I've been watching the news all weekend like everybody else has, and I think a lot of the members of the public said it right. It's bittersweet. It's a step in the right direction. It's concerning that he's a local guy. So I think just different emotions. Again, this is a step in the right direction. This is the first step into getting into court and having a trial.
So as you probably heard during today's press conference, Indiana State Police and the prosecutor there aren't answering questions about whether any other people were involved. However, they did tell us this investigation is still open right now. In fact, you can still submit tips if you know anything that can help. We've got that information on the screen right now, and you can also get that on WTHR.com.
Yes, the superintendent today said this isn't over until we get a conviction.
That's for sure.
And so we know that's some time away.
Yeah, and there's still so many questions that we don't have answers to.
And we're going to get into that tonight.
We'll continue to follow. Thank you, Scott. Well, tonight, we're also hearing from some of Abby and Libby's family members.
Emily Longnecker joining us live. She spent the day in Delphi today, and she also had a conversation with Libby's grandparents. That conversation just hours ago. How are they doing, Emily?
Well, they're pretty emotional, Ann and Felicia, and they have a sense of relief that they have a name and a face and a suspect behind bars. I want to point out we're here at the Monon High Bridge Trail where people have been leaving mementos for the girl since news of the suspect's arrest broke last week. This is the trail where Abby and Libby were hiking on that terrible day, a day that this community and these families have never really gotten closure for, and now they are hoping that closure will come. He's not just a sketch anymore. The families of Abby Williams and Libby German now have a name and a face to put with their worst nightmare come true. Richard M. Allen, the man now charged in the teens' murders.
I don't know the gentleman personally at all, so I've probably seen him, but, it's a small county, but definitely I don't know him.
But Libby's grandma, Becky Patty, confirms at some point after the murders, Allen processed photos for them at the local CVS and didn't charge them.
That is accurate.
Okay.
Libby's grandparents say they got word last Wednesday that police had detained someone, a day they had waited for almost 6 years.
I don't feel like I thought I would.
The Pattys acknowledge the path to healing and justice is just beginning.
I've always said that I would be screaming on the rooftops, but we're not. It's sad. While there's somebody that's been arrested, there is, our lives for 5.5 years have been in a search mode. And that's what we've done. And you get up and it's like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. So we're all just kind of feeling our way and figuring out what our purpose is now. What do we do next? How do we help? That's what we want to know.
Monday, investigators asked for continued tips, saying they wanted to make sure if other persons were involved, they would be held accountable too. The Patties repeated that plea.
I want to make sure that we have everything we possibly need and more. I don't want to leave any stone unturned.
And the Patties calling today bittersweet. For so many years they have been saying today is the day, and now that day is finally here, and it's really just a lot to take in for them. Ann, Felicia?
Certainly is. We have your conversation that you had a one-on-one conversation with Superintendent Doug Carter, pressing for more answers. We'll have that in a little bit. Thanks so much, Emily.
Well, our team coverage continues with Karen Campbell. She's live in downtown Delphi. And Karen, you actually spoke with neighbors there. How are they feeling about this arrest?
Well, Felicia, we heard Emily mention the word emotional for the family. That rings true here with some of the people that I've talked to here in downtown Delphi. Emotional. They did say today was a good day. I spoke to many of them, business owners, those even just stopping by, those not even from this area, just wanted to come and see the area for themselves. Now, they said while the news of the arrest is good news, it's still bittersweet. Another word you heard Emily mention, bittersweet, but they say this is one step closer to finding out what happened to those two young girls.
It's just a big relief, really is.
For many people in Delphi, like Dan Aldridge, a weight has been lifted.
I'm just glad that they have someone to, kind of hold accountable.
Valerie Latino watched on her cell phone Monday as authorities named Richard Allen in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German, a crime that rocked this community to its core.
I was nervous to go to trails alone. I have a daughter who is around the same age. I was nervous for her to go anywhere. So now that they kind of have someone that they suspect, it's relieving, makes me feel safer.
Hopefully he talks, hopefully he puts out everything that they need and they can wrap this up, because them babies deserve this. They deserve this.
When neighbors learned Allen was a part of the community,
Lived here and was in the community and ran around like there was nothing going on, and it's kind of a slap to the face.
He interacted with everybody in this town. He interacted with all of our children, our babies, our teenagers, with us. He told us to have a good day, stay safe, Everyday normal conversation. This man carried on with his life like it was nothing.
As questions about Richard Allen remain, neighbors want to know one thing.
I don't know, just wonder why it happened,
And that is something the community wants to know. And Felicia?
Absolutely, Karen. I think everyone just reacting, everyone wanting to know more information, more answers. Thank you for bringing us that from Delphi. Thanks, Karen.
Yeah, not just the why, but also the who. Who is this man that now is in custody behind bars facing 2 counts of murder?
13 Investigates has been looking at the suspect's background, and senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel joins us right now with what we've discovered.
Often when police announce the identity of an individual charged with murder, that person has a long criminal history. That is not the case with Richard Matthew Allen. Here's what we know. Allen is 50 years old. He also goes by Rick or Ricky. He's lived in Delphi for at least 16 years, and his home is less than 2 miles from the Monon High Bridge, where Abby and Libby disappeared before they were murdered. Records show the suspect previously lived in Greenwood and in Mexico, Indiana. We also know Allen is a licensed pharmacy technician. He received his Indiana license in 2018, and it's still active. Neighbors told 13 News Allen worked at the CVS in Delphi, and today CVS confirmed that for us. He has no criminal history, a few speeding tickets and a citation for not wearing a seatbelt, but that's it. This morning, state police told us Allen has entered a not guilty plea and he's being held at the White County Jail without bond. In criminal cases like this one, prosecutors are required to file a probable cause affidavit, and that usually gives a lot more information about the suspect and the connection to the crime that that person is accused of. In this case, we don't have that yet because the Carroll County prosecutor has taken the very unusual step of asking a judge to keep that document under seal. Coming up, we're going to explain how and why that's happening. That's coming up, that part of the story, tonight at 6.
And as we've mentioned, state police and the Carroll County prosecutor insist this investigation is far from over.
Yes, they say it's open, and they briefly mentioned what's ahead for this case and also for Richard M. Allen. They tell us the next pretrial date is set for January 13th of the new year, and as of right now, the trial is scheduled for March 20th.
Of course, those dates will likely change as the investigation continues. We'll be sure to let you know if they do.
And again, the task force reinforcing, still accepting tips from the community about this case. And if you have them, you can send them to this email address there on the screen. We also have a link for you conveniently online at WTHR.com, Delphi.